What's up, friends? So today we're going to be checking out a brand new film that's out now in theaters and also out now on HBO Max, although that's only temporary. Today we're going to be checking out Cry Macho. So Cry Macho is a 2021 film with a runtime of about an hour and 44 minutes and is directed by none other than Clint Eastwood. Now, Clint Eastwood is a legendary director. Okay, he's been around forever. He was my dad's favorite director, and he's grown on me over the years, specifically with Gran Torino, which, I don't know if you guys remember, is one of my first reviews ever. Nonetheless, Clint Eastwood directs and stars in this film, and we'll talk about it. So starting off with the plot. Essentially, this story revolves around Miko, who's an old man who one day gets drafted by his best friend to go to Mexico and find and bring back his friend's son. So his friend's son essentially currently lives in Mexico. His friend has some reason to believe that the son is not having the best quality of life, is being abused at home, and as such, he thinks that his son will have a much better life if he brings him to the United States. So this film essentially chronicles Miko's journey getting the son, and then more importantly, the journey bringing the son back to the United States. So starting off if you love the characters or not, there's a high chance you will, but it might take some time. It is very obvious that Clint is getting old in this film. I mean, he walks very slowly. He should have hung up the towel by now, but I think he adds an element of familiarity that helps to strengthen Cry Macho a little bit. Now, I will warn you, at the beginning of this film, and maybe even until halfway through this film, you're not really going to care about these characters. You're not going to feel connected to them, and it's going to take a while to really feel like you care about the main character, the son, and all the other characters in this film. There isn't very much development put in. You don't really know much about Clint's past, Miko's past. You don't know much about the son's past. Everything's kind of a mystery, and you learn more as the story progresses, but it's not really about the character's past either. There really is a focus on how Clint Eastwood, Miko, and this son, Rafa, how they connect. Even though they don't speak the same language necessarily, Rafa does speak a little bit English, they have completely different paths and ideas as to what life is. They have different interests, they have different hobbies, and completely different ages. I mean, Miko is a very old man who's aging and approaching the end of his life, whereas Rafa is a very young person who has grown up in the streets, who's very rugged and understands how the world works, but is still at heart very young. And this dynamic is unbelievably interesting to watch as it develops and grows. But as I said before, this dynamic really gets interesting in the second half of this film. So you're gonna have to sit through a lot of seemingly stagnant plot and character development and dialogue to get to the more interesting parts, and the parts where the film actually starts to pick up and you start to understand what it's about, what it's trying to convey, and you start to care about the characters. They're on a journey from Mexico to America, which is in itself a pretty perilous journey. But in addition to that, the son is a runaway, they're being hunted by people, there's mysterious reasonings as to why this is all going down anyway, and all that helps to add a little bit of extra mystery and intrigue. But essentially, you're really gonna have to care for Clint Eastwood and the son to really like and enjoy this film. If you don't care about those two characters, even after halfway through this film, you probably won't like the film altogether. In terms of if it holds your attention all the way, I spoke about it a little bit earlier, but essentially, you need to be a very specific type of person to like this film. You have to be very into slow-paced dramas that are all about character development and character interactions. If that's your forte, this is definitely the film for you. But if it's not, if you're looking for an action-packed western, if you're looking for a runaway film, if you're looking for a film about people getting chased by bad guys and surviving, if you're looking for car chases, this is not the film for you. There is barely any action. Again, as I said before many times, there really is a focus on these two characters and slowing down time and letting you live with these two characters and feel what it's like going through this journey with them. Now, one thing this film does fantastically is showcase Mexico. That journey is beautiful. The landscapes are amazing. The people they meet along the way are fantastic. Those aspects of the film really help bring you in and really help make you care about the film and the characters. It is a very heartwarming and slow-moving story. It focuses on the interaction between these two strangers, but with the focus on their connection across odds and how these two strangers that are so opposed could become best of friends throughout this experience. Now, again, I will warn you, you really have to be prepared for a very slow-moving film. There's times when there is nothing added to the plot for a good 30 minutes, where it's all about just showcasing the life these two characters are living and how they speak with each other and how their relationship develops. There really is no focus on plot, but other than that, don't really expect anything too intricate, don't expect plot twists or anything like that. This is a very straightforward film that a very specific type of person is gonna like. In terms of what's unique about this film, one thing that I thought was really cool was that it's actually based on a book by the same name, Cry Macho. So I heard the book is good. I haven't read it myself, but if you really like this film, I recommend checking out the book. In addition to that, this film, as I said before, is set in a beautiful setting. Mexico is stunning. And it's not tourist Mexico, it's country Mexico and rural Mexico. It's Mexico with all of its culture and life. And you really feel that in this film. There is culture, there's religion, there's family. There's so much focused on in this film and showcased in tidbits in this film where you get a nice sense as to what life in Mexico is like, and you get a good sense as to the community and culture that is very prevalent there. And that's really fantastic that this film was able to capture that essence and showcase it. Now, I will say it again one last time. This film is for a very specific type of person, and that is why I rated it a 2 out of 4. It's only worth checking out if you really don't mind an extremely slow-moving, touching, heartwarming film. It's really Clint Eastwood's brainchild in attempting to showcase to people how anyone can connect, no matter how different you are, no matter how different your goals or your thought processes or your language or age are. You can connect and you can have a friendship that lasts ages. This film helps to showcase that in a very beautiful and moving way, even though it is a bit slow. Nevertheless, let me know if you have checked out Cry Macho in the comments below and what you think about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this type of content. And now we'll be moving on to the Parents Guide. So Cry Macho is rated PG-13, and there's really not too much parental advisory content in this film. It's a very slow film that, again, focuses on these two characters, and as such, there's not much action or sexual content or language altogether. In terms of action, I give this film a 2.5 out of 5. There is a mild threat of, this wife coming back for the son. She sends people after the son. And as such, there is a little bit of action and some action scenes, but they're very mild, and, because Clint Eastwood can't really move too quickly, they're all resolved pretty quickly. There's one action scene specifically where a man gets beat up by a group of people that's a little bit more violent than the others. But again, it's very easy to see in the scene that it's all being faked and it's all being made up. In terms of sexual content, I give this film a 0 out of 5. There is no sexual content whatsoever, not even sexual conversations or discussions. It's very child friendly in that sense. And finally, in terms of language, I give this film a 2.5 out of 5. There is a little bit of language, about 20 S words, a few uses of the D word and A word. It's relatively infrequent language. However, it is there. There's no F words, so this film can be watched by a relatively younger audience. But outside of that altogether, I think younger viewers would just be bored out of this film. I mean, you really have to care about these characters and their development and their takeaways on life and what it means and what you can gain out of those takeaways. And if you don't care about any of that, you're not going to enjoy this film. And since children usually look for action or craziness or comedy, none of that's really in this film. And so I would not recommend this for younger audiences. I would say mainly older audiences, and specifically older audiences who like slow moving films are going to enjoy this film. Otherwise, as I said before, it might be a skip. Again, let me know in the comments below if you have checked it out. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later.